Okay. All right. I think we are live. If you're watching me live here, just give me a thumbs up. Okay. So I'm gonna mute myself. All right. So welcome to 100 days of unlocking EQ, MQ, brain skills. So essentially, we're talking about emotional intelligence. Money intelligence comes right after this topic. But I'm so happy that we are stepping into another skill set, a very important and my favorite is decision making skills of emotional intelligence. So, how are you going to apply your left brain and right brain skills so that it's going to enable you to take smarter, faster, natural decision making skills? So, you as a busy mom, how will you enable yourself on daily transactions, daily life choices, and also some adverse big stake decisions very naturally, blending your logic and creativity. So, this entire series, we are dealing with emotional intelligence with a fresh perspective of dealing through brain skills. So, all of us have brain and two sides of brain which actively works in us. So we will first, get the awareness as to what are those left side brain, the skills that talents that left brain has, and the right brain, what are the skills and talents that it enables us to, hold. So when you have that right kind of awareness, then you can apply. So the next step is to accelerate. But when you do not have the informed decisions, when you are not able to take that informed decisions, that means you don't have enough information about what you're going through, then it becomes tough, right? That is why in emotional intelligence it starts with awareness, and that too self-awareness, what is happening within you. So emotional intelligence as a myth that it is not just about others, it is actually starting from within us. It starts from self, and then you have the ability to read the same emotions in others, and or read the reactions, body language, or be able to even think through for others. All that can happen only when you are clear within yourself. Okay. There are competencies that you can work on EQ, but that's for a different topic. In fact, I am working on those articles on those competencies in a very storified format in a platform called Substack. I'll be sharing the links here. But in the YouTube live for 100 days, next 100 days, we will be discussing about brain skill in specific when it comes to emotional intelligence. There are different things that you can relate to yourself or learn on emotional intelligence because it's an ocean by itself. We are picking specifically brain talents and EQ skills. So essentially, in my series, I will be clubbing both. But for now, we are on the day 11, and in the earlier series of about day 1 to day 10, almost all of them were about resilience. So the subcomponents of resilience and resilience itself in different dimensions. Resilience as busy mom, leaders, entrepreneurs, emotional resilience, logic resilience. So if you have not seen all those episodes, I would highly recommend you to watch and then come back here so you'll be able to connect better. And if you're new to emotional intelligence as such, this will again be a learning session. And I would also want you to subscribe to my YouTube live, YouTube channel, so that all that YouTube live will get notified to you. And I'm also doing this as a podcast. Every topic that I do, I do it in a different version, in a very shorter version. obviously, because YouTube Live demands presentation, more visually presented. So it demands a lot of explanation in terms of giving you a presentation. But on the audio, it's just on the fly. I just close my eyes and talk, about the same topic. So if you're an auditory person, you may want to listen to my podcast on Spotify. So I would highly recommend you to subscribe on it. And then reels are coming out for different aspects of emotional intelligence on different pain points of busy moms. So it may not definitely be a uh, explanatory ones. It is all reel related. It's very quick and fast for you to grab it. And there is a long format content always happening as an article, blog in the Substack. So subscribe to all of my channels so you will know where are the free resources and how you can access. So for today's episode, I warmly welcome and let me share my screen. All right. We are on the day 11, and today what we're going to see is how can you master quick and efficient problem solving in daily life. In case you're watching live, I would want you to just give me a hi, hello, or a thumbs up so I will know that you're online. I'll give you a shout out. And those of you who's going to stick with me till the end of this episode, you will also find some gifts that you can make use of it. Okay. For now, learning part of it. So initially, emotional intelligence will be a little complex to understand. So when you measure emotional intelligence, it becomes EQ, emotional quotient. So under EQ, we have different tools, methods to approach emotional intelligence. So what we are choosing is to talk about brain skills and talents, how that is the left brain and right brain that all of us have is going to enable us to become emotionally intelligent. In this particular skill of decision making, how how does our both the sides of brain is enabling us, and what is the level of decision making capacity that we all have? So are we able to think on our feet? So it is very important to learn how to quickly, arrive at a strategy, solve a problem that comes your way. Because even though there could be storm outside, very chaotic, but inside you, are you having that ability to think on your feet? Whether you are you're at a very happiest place, like happiest moment where, or very proud moment where we all tend to fly, right? We are just feeling proud and too much of ourselves, and we just lose the grip of the ground. So we are not realistic over there. Or at the same time, I mean, at some times where adversity takes over, we get swayed by our own emotions, or maybe with people around us. So we do not know how to think clearly. So that is where we take impulsive choices, we take wrong decisions, wrong moves, because we don't know how to manage the emotions running inside us and outside others, right? And then how do you tap into creativity? Already we are clouded. Our thoughts and feelings, our words, actions, everything is clouded, very clumsy and confusing. So on that note, how do you even tap into creativity? Only when you're, aware. Then when you start applying on a daily basis, then you can actually, get into the creative mode. Because it is not just the left brain alone has to be working, or it is not just the right brain for creativity only has to work. It has to be a combination of both. That is exactly a very unique, feature in this kind of an episode where I will decipher strategies in a way. When I give you some actionable tips, I will also tell you which part of the brain are you activating. But that way it is very easy. I must have covered in this 100 topics, 100 days. I must have at least covered more than 100 strategies for your left brain and right brain to be activated. Isn't it a huge thing? Isn't it a treasure? So I want you to take your pens and pads and start taking a note of it. And the best part is, if you can put your key learnings under the comments of each episode, you can always come back and refer. And you know what? You're naturally inspiring others to look at it, because that will be a learning for them, quick learning for them. And I will definitely give you a shout out. Not just that, you will also be rewarded with some gifts. If you just stay till the end, you will know what it is. Okay. So you need to also have that creativity working on when you want to make a good decision. A smart decision should have a blend of both. Okay. And then staying calm under pressure. While the creativity is running or the assessing that is going on in your mind, you should have the temperament, controlled temperament. You should have that control in you. You should be in full control, right? If you get swayed, you get pulled here and there, you are scattered everywhere. Your brain doesn't let you focus. It is also a biological organ, right? It is not some machine. It is actually, it should be running by you. In fact, it is run by your patterns, but it is out of unconsciously it is run. So you'll have to bring that into awareness. Okay, that's the whole aim of this series. So by now, you will understand that understanding quick problem solving is essential. Let me also give you the importance of it. But before that, let's see what the benefits of it. So when you are able to understand the problem quickly, can you do you have an ability to solve also? It's okay, you may not find the solutions. At least, will you have speed? Because addressing challenges rapidly to prevent issues from piling up is actually allowing you to gain more time. Naturally, you're training your brain to pick up the speed. Okay. And then the clarity. Without clarity, uh, sometimes, when I talk about brain's talents, right, I will be talking about brain profiles also, where different, all of us, uh, even our fingerprints are not same, right? It's very unique. So is our brain styles. And according to research and these tools that I'm, dealing with, they're all AI driven, globally accepted, and very internationally um, accepted, actually, according to all age groups and all culture, irrespective of any location. People have gone through this report, and the survey about this report, uh, statistics and data that this report gives is universal. So, what I'm trying to say is clarity about brain styles. Each of us will have different brain styles in a combination of eight brain styles. Under the eight brain styles, permutation combination of different styles, we belong to different styles. Now, in my case, I may belong to a particular style where my brain demands more of data. If there is something which is not convincing for me, I need to either have an inspiration, that is my right brain, or data, facts, figures, numbers. So if either of it is missing, a person who's driven, right side driven, right brain driven, will need that energy, vibe, and inspiration. That is good enough for them to act on it. A person who requires only data, figure, rest all is, humbug for them. They rely on concrete evidence, then they are logically driven. But sometimes some brain style is a combination of both. So they need sometimes both, either of which will not work for them. Sometimes, uh, they could be, midbrain people are flexible. They can use left brain and right brain whenever it's needed, but they also need to satisfy their brain styles. So this kind of clarity is needed to approach problems with a clear mind for better decision making. You need to have speed, clarity, and then decisiveness. Okay, now that you have that awareness, you have the ability so that you can act on it and you can save time for yourself and others. Your speed at it. I mean, you have an efficiency in it. But if you are still, thinking and hatching eggs, thinking whether to do or not, then it is going to make your choice very tough. I mean, every day when I talk about decision making as a competency, right? In my community, in my courses, we would have dealt with this particular competencies in depth, where we would have given you a lot of statistics and examples after examples and tools which could actually activate decision making very quickly, right? On that note, what's happening is, um, so if you are not able to be decisive, see, there's a when I talk about decision making and when I talk about decisiveness, right? I always remember there is a series called Monk. Right now, we are watching that series in US Netflix, and this person is actually a detective, ex-police turned detective, but he has a problem of he's a nerd, and at the same time, he's a very perfectionist. He's very freak about cleanliness. And he also has this decision fatigueness. I mean, not just fatigueness, he cannot decide. So that is actually a disorder in him, that he cannot decide. Being a detective, imagine um, if he has to take a call whether should he go chase the thief or the culprit, should he go and climb the pipe or not? He will have to think 100 times. By then, the thief would have gone, or the case would have, gone ahead, and he would have shot that person dead. So that amount of decisive indecisiveness is freak, that I understand. But touch your heart and say, we have a hearty laugh whenever we saw this film, because it talks about us, right? um, Not a normal, this is not for normal people. This is for somebody who's with the disorder. But how many of us are actually leading that way in many areas? Unfortunately, our life is designed in such a way that over about 3,000 to 4,000 decisions in a day that we have to take, starting from, brushing your teeth, making your coffee, what kind of coffee that you want. Is it less sugar or more sugar or less milk and all that? What kind of flavor? Starting from food, starting from dress, which direction, which car, what kind of friends you should have, what kind of conversation, what are the YouTube algorithms that you need to watch. It goes on. What are the reels that you're going to watch, or it just goes with the doom scrolling now, because we don't have time to even decide. Whatever comes, we just get fed. Too much of feeding is happening, and too much of the creativity is totally lost, because we have been fed instantly. Instant gratification is huge now. Everything is on our palm of the hand, so there is no need to spend your energy, effort to even think through and then go and decide. So the decision making is right now, uh, while it is made easy, but it is complex. Look at, for one item, how many vendors that you have. So many options we have for you to pick up one recipe. The recipe, the catalog in restaurants is the most trickiest part for us to, whenever we go for dinner, for food. That is the trickiest part. That is a real time we will understand, how much do we have difficulty to decide. And imagine that same thing happens in the family life. For you to take a decision very critical, whether it is for your child or for yourself or for your work in the organization, it's a very complex thing. Imagine that much amount of pressure that we are giving for our brain. So decision making skill, while it is very critical, with all distractions like this, that is what is making us um, become impossible about it. And the social media is keeping us so busy. Health, I mean, our eyes are getting affected. Our brain focus is so much on the screen, and it's just glued, and the attention span is becoming very less. Last year, according to algorithm of Instagram, it was only 7 seconds, but right now it's reduced to 3 seconds. So no wonder it'll become even 1 second in your future. So with this kind of an attention span, with this kind of a consideration for others, imagine you're conversing with your child. You're asking them to speed up all the time, hurry, right? The child has to have that space, because they just cannot grasp uh, the speed, and time is not in their world yet. At the same time, when we're talking to an adult, the conversations always get heated up, because we don't have patience to listen to each other. We don't have time, because we always have instant gratification to work on us. On that note, even for deciding our customers, we are not considering on other, factors, because we have options. It is very easy to reject somebody. It's very easy to get into contract with somebody. So the decision making, while it is getting leveraged, but too many options is actually putting us in jeopardy. Not may not be now in the immediate run, but in the future, it will definitely spoil the brain as an organ. Okay, brain get rots very quickly because of the social media, and it's highly important that we need to protect all the skills and put it in practice. Uh, First of all, be away from these distractions, because if you're filled with the distraction, if you're getting attached to these distractions, The brain skills will, the talents in yourself, in your brain, will not be activated. So it's best that you make use of these kind of long format content where, when you lay back and watch, you're ready to consider and willing to learn instead of, scrolling up and, for endlessly looking for dopamine effect. So the importance of efficiency in problem solving, what is the importance? Suppose without you have the skill that you cannot solve a problem quickly and move on. What's going to happen is you're not cannot tackle issues and small things get pile up, causing stress and frustration. If you are a person who are procrastinating, because when it comes to problem solving, I just cannot ignore procrastination. That's the biggest elephant for all of us, right? So if you have that that habit, that pattern in you, then all these pile up decisions will remain fruitless. It will never become a stepping stone for you to solve problems. So it is equally important what kind of patterns and what kind of behaviors that we have through physical, mental, and emotional. So all of it should be under check-in. And while you're practicing on a skill, your patterns, your emotions, those things also has to be checked in. With this, suppose you are efficient in problem solving, what happens? You are able to tackle heads on, and you thereby reducing stress for yourself and people around you, maintaining productivity. So efficiency gets kicked in. Efficiency is a metric for productivity. Essentially, problem solving, it is not just for business or at work. It is also for family, household person, right? Because at each stage of life, you encounter problem. As a parent, as a mom, as a breadwinner, as a dad, as elders in the family, everybody would have gone through this, and everybody are in working progress only. So, that of course the advantage is productivity boost, because before that, I would like to share statistics that 40% are productive in, according to Harvard Business Review. A study shows that efficient problem solvers excel in daily tasks, and they are the ones who are productive. But what happens to the rest of the 60% that is in question, right? Because they lack time management and there's a huge amount of stress. Because of stress, the brain gets affected also. And somebody who's in blind spot that they're not, yet aware that stress or depression is kicking in, that is even more dangerous. Because neither you will be in the sight of losing time. You will not know, because by the time you take your mobile, 1 hour easily gone. It is very, very important to be aware of it. And then, even though you are aware of it, there are some addictions, there are some distractions, there are some negativity always around you. You also have to be in a appropriate environment to protect you from that. So if you have the right kind of time management, you're going to give quick solutions to free up time for yourself and for others. When it comes to yourself, you will prioritize better. And that is one of the quickest strategies that we will be, seeing in the upcoming slides. Of course, stress reduction, how does it happen? Addressing issues promptly, it's going to help you prevent overwhelming situations, right? Because you don't necessarily pile up things. And other advantages, it'll let you be, having a productivity boost, no doubt about it, because you're going to solve quickly and just move on. And people will look up at you as a leader. They approach you for problem solving. Haven't you, have you had any experience? Are you a person who's been approached for solving problems? That is one of the questions that you can ask whether you're emotionally intelligent. That is a sign for being emotionally intelligent. If you have the capacity to solve problems and give solutions, then you're efficient there, right? Because it is not easy for somebody to give solution. Of course, it should be a win-win solution. It is not just a solution for the sake of giving it. The person who have decided that, who have arrived at a win-win solution, would have considered many components, right? When we are talking essentially about decision making skill, that muscles to be worked on, we consider four factors. One, is it a short term or a long term? So you're looking for decision making for a short term or a long term. Is it for yourself or others you're taking? So what are the cost and benefits? And you're doing it for yourself or others is something that it comes everywhere, correct? So it also deals with how whichever situation you are in, how quickly that you are taking a mental note of all this. You don't have to necessarily sit with pen and paper to take all this, right? Bigger stake situations, you will have to anyway reflect on it. But quick decisions, like either you got to catch an auto or Uber, that is something that you don't need a pen or something to look at it. You're not calculating anything big there. You're just catching a cab and either cab or auto or just walk. So that decision has to come momentarily. And in fact, even a child can, they are taking, decisions, whether they want this chocolate or that chocolate. They're anyway doing it. They don't need you over there. But there are a lot of things that they cannot decide because they don't have an understanding. They would depend on you. Even there, they are taking decision. Whether it's right or wrong, that is a second step. But they can, according to their intuition, according to their ask, their perspectives, their ideas. Okay. But how efficiently are we taking to solve the problem is something that we can discuss on, because a child taking a decision doesn't necessarily solve the problem, right? But we're talking about adult being having that ability to exercise this skill set in order to solve problems quickly and smartly and faster. Okay. Thereby, time management, stress reduction, all these, we just saw that these are advantages. And what could be the disadvantages? Overlooking at details. Because by the time you want to decide anything, if you are a person who is dwelling on more of your uh, fa data, facts, and all that, and just sitting forever, then you're overthinking on it. Okay, that is only going to jeopardize the faster movement of things. You're not able to decide quickly. That can miss some important nuances in life and work or some opportunities. Short-term focus. Quick solutions might prioritize immediate results over long-term benefits. That is okay. For you to take quick solutions, you might jeopardize the long term because you are just thinking, okay, let's just get this thing away from first. Let's just work with this person for now, or let's just work with the situation for now and just move on. And then the emotional pressure also gets built. Constant rapid decision making can lead to emotional exhaustion also. Every time, if you're firefighting where you are the person who has to decide for every transaction, that is also exhaustive. If any process is dependent on you, or if the entire family, your life and team, work team, everything is dependent on you, it's only going to get you to burnout. And at the same time, some emotional pressure that you're constantly firefighting because of adversities of life, uh, either because of you or with people around you. Then it is constant pressure. It'll turn out as a depression and burnout. Okay, there are many advantage and disadvantage for the in the limit of in interest of time. We are just picking a few points. Who needs it exactly? Actually, more of adults, like busy moms, professionals who are at high stake, entrepreneurs. Actually, pretty much everybody, right? The truth is that. But let's say profile wise, busy moms managing household tasks and family schedules efficiently, truly, right? How many of you, being a mom, feel already exhausted? Whether it is one kid or three kid, I think it's the same right now. Of course, the intensity of having so many kids is too many because transactions are also many, and then responsibilities is getting added up, and so is the overload of work. But it's not. It's not concrete with anybody. So everybody life journey is different. But the thing is, logically, if you see, when you're juggling too many roles, too many transactions are involved in your life for you to, constantly have to think through and decide. So that will be very exhausting. So you definitely need to have some actionable strategies to make sure that you're using your left brain and right brain equally, and you're able to be on your feet, stay calm, while you're able to efficiently take these decisions. Okay. And then the entrepreneurs addressing daily business challenges with speed, that is also important. Because if it's time sensitive work for professionals, that is equally important to solve your problems quickly. Because there should be some stakes, right, that you've got to be responsive. Um, so it is essential that problem solving skills, it is there from conventional time. Okay. But the amount of turnaround is very quick nowadays. The expectations is very, very, faster and quicker. Otherwise, the job is lost, assignment is lost, opportunity is lost. It's gone for somebody. So highly competitive world, fast paced, and it's becoming a normal expectation for people to have speed and efficiency. Okay, this being the metric for you to solve the problems, but there are skills that you need to really practice to attain this. This is the ultimate or ideal thing. Metrics is uh, calculated, let's say speed and efficiency is calculated not when you are completing it only. How efficiently were you throughout the process? That is what is going to measure it. Family life application, where are you generally applying this? I'm picking up this because being a mom, I my entire series is dedicated to busy moms like me. But it is not only for mother, it is also for dads. It is also for any adult who has that responsibility to quickly solve problems. So in family, constant decisions, where are we taking? Meal planning, right? Oh my God. Not just adjusting ingredients. It is about even deciding what is the plan for every day, all 3 times. That is the reason I wanted to put this first. It is the most exhaustive thing. Mentally, first of all, exhaustive. And then, of course, physically doing things is another thing. And thereby it goes end up in emotional exhaustion only. Because you sometimes seem to have some complaint that it may be dependent on you. You may not have that right kind of support system and infrastructure or resources for you. So that might even turn into emotional pressure, right? But meal planning definitely makes us fatigue, man, decision fatigue. It's neither can you actually, unless you are outsourced it. You have somebody to be delegating this. If you are the person who has to do this, mind you, gradual decline. You have to be aware of gradual decline so that you're not gone to the fatigueness. So you might have to give some break and creatively think about solutions. Of course, all of us will be, creative about making things happen at home. But are we creative about our self care? How to take a break from this? That is more important. Scheduling is like handling unexpected changes, especially with schooling and life when you have elders at home or general stages of life. You need to be prepared and you need to be having a daily schedules or weekly or monthly for any changes. You got to have that problem solving comes to you handy. It is not like, okay, so let's wait and switch on the problem solving skills. Let it quicken, wait till it quicken. And then you can inform somebody, okay, I'm thinking to solve this problem. That's not how it works. That's what I'm saying. The world is already fast paced and we're all multi-talented. So if you ask a busy mom, I think solving problems is natural. But only question that you have to ask is, are you doing it efficiently? Without having a residue of, when I say residue is, it should not affect you. Your decision making or problem solving should be a process where you enjoy doing it. Of course, you're solving problems, which is that during adversities or stressful things, that is all okay. But as a skill, that should be your strength. And your outcome should also be a win-win for everybody. That is problem solving. But what we are essentially saying is what is enabling you to be able to do that kind of smarter decisions quickly and fastly. Okay. And during emergency, fixing minor issues before they escalate is also important. Always have the long term in your thinking and work reverse. So you will have, emergency funds or you will have some contingencies plan always. Okay. So that it eases up your decision making. Planning is half problem solved. If you have everything, planning is actually prevention, cure, or whatever it is you can say. But for you to plan really well, you must be aware of what's happening around. So there's a lot of subsets for it also. And then when it comes to chores, dividing task efficiently, right? I can hear some voice saying, "Oh, don't talk about it," because it's an everyday thing, especially in a country like USA where you just don't have labor for you. I mean, you are on your own and you got to do everything on your own. Any Western country for that matter, um, that is a struggle. Everyday chores is how do you share your responsibility? How do you who has to do what and all that? There has to be an automation. If life transactions are not automated, it's going to be very difficult um, in the Western countries, basically. For you to achieve something big in your life, there has to be automation in life and business. Okay. Then travel plan. Okay, that is where again a lot of components has to be considered, right? Emotions in play more than of course, emotion and finance play a lot of role because without these, even if you are going for a posh luxury accommodation or a vacation spot, if the emotions involved in the people, I mean the in the people involved is not elevated, then it's not going to be peaceful vacation. And even though people are passionate, they are very interested or they are very positive people. If the finance is not there, I mean, enough resources, there's no convenience in them, then it's not going to be proper. But these two, apart from these two, how are you able to solve the problems as and when it comes? So imagine these two are taken care, and still there are problems across your journey. On the way there could be many unexpected things can happen. How are you able to solve the problems without getting stressed out? Because you're coming on a vacation, that doesn't have to happen, that should not happen to you, and all that rigidity, or eh, maybe you do not know how to handle it's a new place, it's a new language, so you're panicking, or maybe you have lost something, the children are making it chaotic, or it could be many things. Maybe the tire got flat, or the climate got worsened, there's no power, or there's no enough ATMs, or petrol bunk is not there. It could be any damn thing, internet connectivity for that matter. It could be any damn thing. How are we creatively solving the problem? Okay. What is it I have to be able to have this skill? That's what we're going to see. And what happens in professional setup? So how important it is to quickly able to solve the problems. Because when you have deadlines, meeting the project deadlines is important. And suppose you have any problems. So during the course of conducting a project and finishing as per the deadlines, there could be many blocks. And what kind of abilities, temperament that you have to see the problem as realistic and then be able to solve the problem. Mind you, you're not the only person. Maybe you're an individual contributor, but still you may have to be working with your team managers or the clients. So there'll be people involved. How are you embracing them along the journey? That is what is going to determine your efficiency in problem solving. And then team conflicts, typical, right? It involves emotions. It involves a lot of people at stake. Resolving workplace issues is a classic thing of how able is the person to solve problems. Resource allocation, yes, that is again, it's more of a left brain activity, but that also needs problem solving skills, right? And address problem solving itself, addressing unexpected challenges, decision making, making informed choices quickly. So, what happens in team settings? Collaborating, sharing ideas and perspective with the team enables problem solving, and delegating, assigning tasks based on individual strength, synthesizing. These are actually strategies, but I'm going to read this three at the later point of time as an actionable tips, because that is what we are going to see as an actionable tips. Now that you know the importance of it, where it is used, and as a family setup or a professional setup or a team setup, where can you apply problem solving? It is not just with the work outside only. It is also to do with the personal work. Now you saw the importance of it. Now tell me, what could be strategies that you can take? There are many um, there are many components to it, of course. But as I said, today, what we will do is, for every skill, we will decipher the strategies into left brain and right brain. Okay. And then we will see which one can you use at what situations. Okay. Maybe that could be, for example, if you're dealing with your child, you may not be necessarily logically driven. You need a lot of emotional brain there, right? Because the child is not uh, very logically, assessing. They don't have the ability yet. But if you're talking to an adult, you might want to take the blend of both. And if you're in a professional setup, that is more important that you don't. I mean, typically in organizations, they're not switching on their emotional brain. If only for creativity and innovation, some risk, high stake, jobs. But at the productivity level, at the ground level, the team managers and below, they are essentially what they're doing only is logically they're driving behind data point, reports, and presentations and all that. There's no emotional brain happening there, except for the performance review. Only those times, or the review with managers, communication happens. That is when they are considering the emotional part of it. Rest all times, forget about these cultural events or rewards and recognitions could be the emotional brain activated there. That also is driven by data because they need proof of evidence for somebody to be recognized. So you see, there is a whole gap. So that is why it is important to have a heart-centered leadership now, right? Interestingly, I have a case study about a very famous personality, and that is why I love to do this series where we will get into real-time examples and dwell to see what kind of leadership they had, what kind of personality they had for them to be successful. So how can we model that? Now for actionable tips. Are you ready with your pens and papers? As usual, I'm going to be giving you 6 to 8 actionable tips, considering the left brain and right brain. And then you can choose to take what works for you at what situation. So the first thing is about breaking down problems. So that is the first thing that you have to approach if you want to solve problems, right? Usually the problem, if it is very small problems, it doesn't need that much efforts and thinking. So sometimes it could be transactional, that it could be an autopilot thing. But if it's new and if it is involving others, you might have to spend some little more time. And if it is involving you also, it is important to take care of that. Give that time to ensure that it's really solved for you. But 90% of the problems, it deals with, you know, uh, short term, the mid range and the long range, heavy range of problems I'm talking about. So that for that kind of problems, which is very complex, the first thing that you do is break it down. So this is a left brain activity. The first thing is you recognize the main issue in hand. This this is appropriate for storm kind of situation, adversity, setbacks, or very emotionally charged situations where you are first of all asked to recognize what is the problem. If you do not know, if you cannot pin down what is the real problem, that only means you are also getting swayed by the emotions, either within you or outside you. Okay. Or maybe there is no clarity, or maybe there is no real problem. It could be anything. It's not necessary there has to be a problem. And it is also important that we don't, orient ourselves only to find the problems. Naturally, we will be inclined to create problems for that matter, even if it is not existing. Okay. And then divide the problems, split the problem into smaller and manageable pieces. Prioritize. Focus on the most critical aspects first. And then address each part systematically to a comprehensive solution. That was a quick one. That was for your left brain. The next one is right brain. Time limited solutions. So set a timer. Allocate a specific time frame for brainstorming solutions. Okay. Concentrate intensely on the problem during the set time. Choose the best solution when the timer ends. You see how it is right brain. I'll tell you, whenever we have a team meetings, I do um s- I carry on certain best practices. Okay. What I do is, before I start saying something, I'll tell them in 5 minutes, next 5 minutes, what I'm going to do is I will explain to you this. In next 10 minutes, I would all want you to brainstorm and then figure out what is the best options works for us. So immediately when I say this, the other person or the team who's in the other side has an idea that, okay, it's going to be a 10-minute activity. They're charged up. It's a pretty good challenge if you say a very shorter time. It's a challenge for the brain also, right? It is even working good with kids. When you tell them, right, okay, in next 5 minutes, you got to tell me this. You got to complete saying what you're saying. In the initially, in the initial time, they will take it as a challenge only. It'll be interesting for them. Of course, they might drag depending on the story that they want to share, the context, or the ability of the child, or some disruption, interruptions in between. That could go on, or it's the natural ability for them to, pace it out. But when you tell this, it actually picks up speed. Okay. And it also ensure the focus from the other side, also from your side. You're also, watching out. When you tell that, when you chunk it and admit that within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it definitely gives you that kind of clarity and direction. You will be well within that time. Of course, we all are striving to moderate our talking, including the series. I'm trying to bring this, from initially I wanted only for 30-40 minutes, but the concept is such that, or sometimes I might go little, extended, which I'm trying to moderate it also. I strongly believe that after explaining a couple of episodes in the beginning, I don't have to repeat the format or certain things, that you can always connect it back when you watch the previous episodes. Or if you've been watching from the beginning, I think you can connect to what I say. So we can quickly pass on to the next steps. But essentially, here what we spoke is about how to activate your right brain. This is the strategy. And then the five why techniques. This is purely the left brain. Whereas the person who's be receiving this 5i, the person whom you're doing the 5i, right? Right? It is purely a right brain activity. I must tell you, in fact, it is both. If you just think about this, I'll tell you the situation here. The 5i techniques works wonderfully well if you want to have a deep reflection of any situation, if you want to learn the wisdom from it. So it happens in the, manufacturing industry. In fact, I think the Ford company had brought this concept. They had been experimenting to figure out how they can bring about an activity efficiency in their employees by reducing their movement. In fact, one of their car model was getting obsolete. I don't recall the reason why that this came out, this emerged. So they happened to ask these five whys to the people to understand where is the missing element. And I think after that, they invented something really revolutionary. Okay. We might have to check the Google for that. But five eye techniques really helps. It's a beautiful psychological tool. I have used it in my parenting during some tough times where emotionally charged, the child is stressed out and they're not able to decipher the problem or break it down as to decipher the intention behind it. It is not just the facts and figure which is concretely, tangibly visible, but those intangible ones, the five why really works. But essentially, what we are here right now seeing is to activate the left brain. How is it actually helping? So the initial why, asking why the problem occurred, and then the deeper why is continuously asking why to each answer, and finding the root cause, identifying the fundamental issue after five whys. So this can work in the logical situations where you're bringing out a lot of data points to understand and maybe to cut cost, to understand the importance of it, to cut cost, or prioritizing. It can be used for any stages of complexity, to break it down, to chunk it down, even for intangible things like intentions, emotions, feelings, especially with people, right? And data also. And then the next one is creative thinking in problem solving, right side. Unconventional ideas. When you are out there working on out of the box thinking solutions to common problems, that is exactly how you allow your right brain to kick in. You're open, you're willing to look at other perspectives, you're also putting yourself there, standing in their shoes or in reframing your thoughts and, you know, putting yourself in that perspectives. There's a lot of things happening when you're actually doing a creative thinking. And essentially, there are tools to make this activated. But isn't what we are actually speaking is, how are you combining that left brain and right brain? And especially to this one, combining concepts like merging different ideas for innovative approaches and reverse thinking, approach the problem from an opposite perspective. This is a this is a super duper hack which works. I think in the recent past, it's been working wonderfully well. It is constantly in my mind. Maybe that is why I've put it here. Reverse thinking or reverse psychology works really well with in parenting also, and even sometimes spouse relationship. When you're even within yourself, when you're too bogged out with something, right? If the person is bothering, just play the reverse psychology first within yourself and to them also. If you can express it, wonderful. um, I learned it from my parents, especially my mom does this reverse psychology with me. She will not say that I'm going to be there helping you and all that. It is up to you whether you want to do it is good for you. You think about it. So when they put it's like a googly, right? When they ask us to think about it, it is up to us to take a choice. So we will eventually will obey, okay, what is needed. When we do not know we are not informed about or we don't have the right kind of information, we rely on them. And then the reverse thinking could be in a different perspective where you set a goal and then work reverse, or the opposite way where, okay, now this problem has gone wrong. This is in my perspective. What happens the other way? What are the ways it could have gone correct? Ask what if questions. Think differently is the tagline that I remember now. So innovation, I think, or creative thinking, it's very relatable when I say think differently, right? So these are some hacks that you can work on. There could be many things, but whatever, I came across in my experience, I have put it here. And then the time management in problem solving is again left brain skill activities where you're assessing, quickly evaluating the problem's urgency and complexity. That is critical also, right? Initially, whenever you want to solve problems, you will see, no, how urgent it is. That's the first thing that immediately comes, no, whether the problem is small or big. In our school, the parenting, when I talk with my child, a parent was once told, when we met their teacher, when it's a concept where kindergarten teachers are explaining to the parents that how they develop the problem solving skills in the kids itself at that age. So whenever the kindergarten kids are naturally elementary kids are naturally inclined, all the time they either they want to seek attention or they just want to go and talk to their teacher, right? Uh, Telling some complaint about somebody. So the moment, how much can the teacher handle out of 10, 20 students over here? But back in India, it should be definitely 30, 40. But I'm talking about not the daycare, but the kindergarten, typically in school, where when the teacher himself or herself is in the heated situation of handling things, and when each child comes with the different problems, the first question they ask is it a small problem or big problem? So when I came to know about this, right, my child was unconsciously practicing this with me. So when she had a problem with her friend, she solved the problem herself, and then she came to me. Then immediately I found the pattern. I asked her, "Okay, Kana, but like you're able to solve this, but tell me what made you solve this." I will think whether this problem that she's giving me, is it something that I can solve or I have to come to you. But how does it occur? And how does she apply it at that moment is something was very admirable. Okay, so that has to come as a practice. Similarly for us, that is the reason I said there are four ways that you can always think. It's a future or present, short term, long term. Is it supposed to be done by you or others? Is it for you or for others? Cost and benefits. So there are a lot of factors that you can decide on. So that way you can prioritize whether you need to do it now and allocate. That is also important. Once you know whether it is for now or for later point of time, now what you're doing is you're allocating either resources, time, money, or effort, or even people. So assigning appropriate, not just time, for resources for solving based on importance is equally important. Okay. Now, since essentially we are talking about time management, so appropriate time as a factor here is appropriate. But in general, resources means everything that I just said. Act. Okay, now that you are able to assess, you also have resources in your hand that you can allocate. But without acting on it, decisions cannot come fruitful. So working efficiently within the allocated time frame is the whole um, game. But if you think, okay, we can, there is a match going on, and if the player think, okay, we can still hit a six later, that is not the match. That is not a game. It's the same with life. Maybe life gives you some relaxation, but it will definitely turn into adversity sometimes as it gets piled up. That is the reason when I talk about problem solving or decision making, procrastination is the killer here. It is acting now, but acting now not out of impulsiveness, but assessing these skills, practicing these skills that will help you to take wise action. And prioritizing urgent issues. That is again right brain. I'll tell you why. Because when you assess the impact, determining which problems have the most significant consequences, essentially what we are doing is considering time, identifying the issues in the imminent deadlines, and focus on resources, allocating energy to the most critical problems first. When I say resources, again, I'm saying it is not just um, uh, the time, the money that we have, it is also with people. And wherever you're using the right brain, mostly it deals with emotions of other people. Okay. That doesn't mean logical solutions don't have emotions. It does have emotions like uh, resilient, evaluation is considered. For example, if you don't evaluate the risk in it, you might put everybody around you in jeopardy, danger. So you do consider, but most of the emotional processing happens in the right brain. So when you're considering resources, you also have to consider the emotions involved with the people involved in it, including yourself. Only then you're actually prioritizing correctly. Okay. So prioritizing urgent issues, not just only for you, it is also including other people involved in it. If you're only doing it for yourself, this holds good. Okay. Learning from past, that is midbrain. You're going to reflect. Reflecting is actually having both the brain involved. We saw in the previous episodes, if you want, you can just go back and connect. Considering how you solved similar problems before, that is mastery experiences. So if you have already done this, okay, most of the times we might have the same problems coming into us. Very few times during a setback or adversities, like a job change or a location change, school change, partnership, relationship. All these are new things, right? It doesn't happen everyday basis. So at that point of time, then uh, it is all the more important to reflect on it, to consider how you have solved these problems earlier, right? To gain confidence, because you cannot apply the same mastery experiences here because these are all new instances. But for the same old patterns, you can always pull the inspiration or facts from the previous thing. You can even set boundaries. You can say, that is how you automate. You either delegate outsource or delete it by saying no. That is how you automate. But with new things, you're open, you are still not able to decide. And then adapting, modifying past solutions to fit current situations. Not every past experiences could be true here. That cannot work. Before pandemic, the world was different, and after that, it is totally different. Improve. You need to be adaptable to improve. Enhance previous strategies for better results. Okay. Balancing logic and creativity. The whole idea is to blend both the logical thinking and creative thinking, using analytical skills to break down and understand, applying imagination to generate unique and effective solutions. Now let's go back to the previous three things. In fact, this one. So, in solving problems with team settings, you need to collaborate. For collaboration, your right brain has to work. For delegation, your left brain has to work because you're going to share ideas and perspective with the team in the first step. And when you're delegating, you would have assessed the importance and creativity, urgency, and all that, and then you're delegating. And then synthesizing. It's a combination of both. You're going to combine diverse inputs for comprehensive solutions. Diverse inputs, both logic and emotional. When I say emotional, people involved in it. When I say logic, what is the organization policy? What is the value system? What is the client requirement? What is the financial status? Everything you'll have to consider. If it is family situation, it's the same thing. Financial situations, value systems, what is currently needed, prioritizing everything, synthesizing both the emotions and the logical fact. And then the technology, quick problem solving in technology. So, how do you do that? Using problem solving apps for quick solutions. There are many things, like for simple thing like without phone for my productivity, very difficult because I rely on notes, Apple phone notes. Anything and everything will be there on my notes. And the notes is actually synchronized with my laptop. So that is an ecosystem advantage. But that helps me solve a lot of problems because it adds like a reference. The same way, emails, all the folders, the hard drive or cloud, everything has its own. It is up to us as to how we are using the technology to our advantage. And then, as I said, cloud and AI. Yes, after 2023 beginning, then AI is also part of us. So now anything and everything, we are not yet exposing the younger children, but they are anyway learning how to deal with the, Alexa, how to deal with Siri. So it's becoming part of their life. So it is very quick. It's in very near future that they start interacting with AI very commonly. And it is a continuous improvement in problem solving. So you need to practice. It's a regular application for quick problem solving techniques in daily life. Only then you will get skilled in this. And you need to analyze the effectiveness of your solutions also once in a while. You need to review it. You need to be open to receive feedback or see the patterns yourself. How have you taken the decisions? How efficient were you in problem solving skills? Okay. So that is when you can quickly adapt. Because if you don't have the adaptability quotient also, that means you will not find it very quick to move on. You may be a person who will go back, think too deeply, overthinking, thinking that you are reflecting and evaluating. You will still be in the same place, and growth will not happen because it has to be a continuous effort enhancing your problem solving skills over time. Remember, it doesn't come over a weekend or over a crash course. It has to be applied and it has to come over a time. All right. Now, we are coming to the next interesting part. This is where we will talk about leadership style of a prominent, successful person. So we are talking about Tim Cook, who is the CEO of Apple after co-founder Steve Jobs. His problem-solving skill or his leadership is very unique. That if you ask Google, it'll tell you that he has a very democratic style of dealing with people. And it is more of his. I was so interested because he's more of a right brain person, where he looks at problems, and how he solves the problem is by asking for a consensus. That is so democratic for that matter, right? He looks for a very inclusive and a value driven environment. Apple by itself, that is why I love the product for its more for its innovation, that is for sure, stability for sure, but it is value system that they stand for their value for innovation, thinking differently. A lot of things comes across when we talk about when you look at a product and the leadership behind it. And essentially, what I learned about Tim Cook is there are other things, but he's a transparent communication, inclusivity, data driven. Of course, they have the revolutionary products, innovation after innovation that can happen only when they have enough data for them to, experiment on new things. Practically, they have to be available out there for the market, and they have to be realistic in their approach, and hold the value also together. Because if the values are not strong, then it can take them everywhere. It not necessary that if they go run by the trend, not sticking to their value, not sticking to their mission, they would have gone lost by now. So they stand in the battle tested time because of these values. Okay. His approach towards problem solving is breaking down. He simplifies complex issues by breaking them into manageable parts and making it easier to analyze. That's the skill, man. Breaking down complexities to simplifying things is the skill needed for current, society, current times now. Even personal, if you can don't get swayed by emotions, and if you can just think at your feet. I think it's the right term when I, quoted in the beginning. Thinking at your feet, blending the strategy and emotional processing helps you stay calm under pressure. So these qualities will enable you to simplify a lot of things in life, gives you peace. Okay. Then analyzing, he uses logical thinking to assess each component, examining the strength and weaknesses to understand the impact of potential solutions and creating it. And then he fosters innovation by encouraging creative solutions, exploring new ideas for unique challenges. So both the brains are acting. And the emotion part, the people related, it is not just a process related, it is also people related. I told you just now that he's a person value driven and he's a democratic leader. Um, and he takes consensus from his team, open, transparent. No wonder why they are giant companies. They are still in the market. It demands a lot from, it's the expectation of Apple is so huge, right? A lot of us cannot live without Apple products. I'm a big fan. I've turned as a big fan. I used to hate to switch from Android to Apple, Mac, but eventually I became a hardcore fan for Apple products. Okay. And when we talk about problem solving, the 5 why techniques, we just cannot go away without mentioning Henry Ford's. So his problem solving wisdom is don't find fault, find a remedy. Okay. Focus on solutions rather than dwelling on problems. Apply this mindset to quickly overcome daily challenges. Okay. Now for you to assess, now you may have doubt in you whether do you have that efficiency currently or not. Okay. So there may be there are a lot of insights you would have got. You would right now know the importance of it. Now you want to practice on it, but it's also essential to understand the current level of where you are. And that is the reason I have bundled all these 100 days and 100 topics of EQ awareness that I'm giving you. I bundled that as a quiz here for each and every skill that we are talking. And for today's skill for problem solving efficiency also, there is a bundle of, there is a quiz that you can take and try to see whether you can answer these questions there. And there'll be a scores and there will be the right answers given to you because these are only questions here. But over there, you will have options to choose and experiment around your understanding. And it'll also show you the right answers. So you will understand the areas of improvement. And it's totally personalized. It won't be visible for anybody You just have to enter your email ID and then it pops up to your email. Okay. Apart from that, I will also invite you for my brain skills workshop. It's actually a masterclass every week. There'll be a link given here, and we will be conducting a workshop specifically for women. So, more details about it is there in that link. And I want you to engage and win some gifts. How? First is awareness quiz that I've told you. Second is EQ brain skills. It's a free invite. And the third one is there is a program that we have been doing for 21 days resilience building. It is equally important. We just finished the topic of resilience, so I thought I'll just touch upon it. But for you to win those challenges, it's a 21-day challenge. It's going to be a task for busy moms where you can really build all these practical tools in action, and I will handhold you for 21 days. After that, it becomes part of you. You can do it on your own, and you're going to be unstoppable because you don't have to believe me. There is a link given here. You can see what other moms who have taken this challenge have told about this program before, during, and after, and see what all about. If it suits you, you can take it up. But it is for cost for now. Both the awareness quiz and the resilience building, it is for charge. But I'm going to give it to you free of cost if you can diligently put just three top learnings what you have learned from this episode. Because you've been listening to this episode, in case you've been watching all the other previous episodes, that is great. Uh, I would want you to connect the dots, go back and keep learning, and make sure you put your insights in this episode as comments so that it reinstates, it stays as a reference. You will inspire other people also who are watching this. But most importantly, when I see a key learning recorded there, I'll pick you as a winner and I'll give it to you. I'll email it to you, the 100% free coupon code for these courses. Okay. Once you come to my community, then all the future announcement will be given to you. So you can be part of it also. But for now, I'm also leaving you with free resources in YouTube, podcast, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Substack. So it is all out there for you to take it, experiment it, and if it serves well, take it. Give me a love and support. Subscribe to all of these channels. Give me a comment. How did this go? And what kind of insights that you had learned? That would be a great boost for me. Until I see you tomorrow, stay quick, smart, and make use of these skills in next 24 hours time. That is the way to reinstate or rewire your brain, because rewiring takes enough time. But if you don't reinstate within 24 hours time, whatever you have learned, it's going to get diluted. By the time 7 days happens, it is already gone. And that is the reason I insist, put down your learnings and you will pick it up immediately. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow with different topic on maybe the same skill